Once, many years ago, I met one fisherman. He said, Anwar, the sea is limitless. It's full of life and full of secrets. If you can dive deep enough, you will be able to explore some of them. I always remembered his words. The oceans run in cycles. Sometimes you're deep, but sometimes you have to observe from afar. It's crucial to respect its rules and not to break the cycle.
En iyi yer Beyaz Uçurum. Burada bu Beyaz Uçurum çok güzel bir yeriydi ama bırakmadılar. Bir yer buldum orada, barbun vardı. Çok barbun vardı. Böyle 20 okka barbun tutardım 5 torbanın üstünde. Ama şimdi hepsi alıştı, bitti. Orası da iyiydi, anten iyiydi. Ya her yer iyiydi, buralarda güzel yerler vardı. Yani zengin yerler vardı. En iyi Fener'in üstüydü ama Fener'in üstü çok tehlikeliydi. Şu anda akıntı var. Orası çok güzeldi. En güzel orasıydı. Her balık vardı. Şinariler. Ne istersen vardı. Ne istersen. Onun üstünde balık bitmezdi. Ama bu balonlar dürüdü. Hepsini yediler. 10 tane günde tutardık. O zaman çok mineri vardı. Yani bak oraya böyle tecrübeli olmayasına gidesin. Da ağ dökesin, ağ çıkaralım. Biz kaç kere gittik Yusuf'una? Geçen sene gittik. Gittik minera ağı dökecek o bangonun üstüne. Kasaya attık. Kasayı gözümüzün önünde battı aşağı kasa. Köpük dolu için. Yani insan atlasa insanı da sürükleyecek, boğacak. Allah! Biz öyle akıntı oldu dağa dökmeyi ki geri kaçarız. Ne işim var benim orada ya? Geri ya biz gittik bir gün dere gibi akıntı vardı Yusuf'tur hadi. Böyle boş ver.
Strong current. Lots of fish. Okay. Deep and risky. Whew. It sounded daunting. It sounded impossible. Back then, I lacked the equipment, the knowledge, the skills. I didn't have the means to get to Armanda. It was unattainable for me. But every time I closed my eyes, I could envision myself there deep among the fishes. I knew that if I wanted to become friends with Armanda, I had to start shallow. This is HMS Ormonde. She was a trawler vessel built by Cochrane & Sons in 1906. Unfortunately, she was sunk during a German raid in 1941. For 3.5 decades, she roamed the seas under the flag of Royal Navy and carried out hydrographic surveying missions. In 1931, under Vice Admiral Sir Henry Percy Douglas, she was assigned to explore coastal waters around the island of Cyprus. Among others, one of her most significant local findings was an underwater pinnacle lying offshore to the north of Cape Kormakidis. To this day, the structure bears its name, Ormonde. We will never be able to experience untouched Ormonde Bank again. However, its image is etched into the souls of the first Speros to dive there.
Hello. Welcome. Well, the Ormonde has always been like a myth. You know, you hear about it, but you don't want to believe it. It was like a dream. The first time I went there, I believe it was in 1993. That was like 27 years ago, very, very long time ago. And we anchored the boat, and I was actually scared to jump in because it was so far out. We've never been so far out before. I remember jumping in the water, and the first thing that I thought was, wow. It was like, wow. The waters were crystal clear back then, not like today. I don't know what happened, but the waters were really, really clear. You could like have a visibility of 40, 45 meters back in those days. There was, as soon as we jumped in the water, there was amberjacks, turtles, snappers, groupers, breams, you name it, everything. Everything was just around us. It was like jumping in a aquarium, a sectioned off piece of the Mediterranean full of fish. It was actually unbelievable. I didn't spear anything the first time I went there. When you anchor, the fish onto the anchor. Okay, what's this? They would all go, the groupers, they would all go and, you know, look at it and then swim away. One would come and disturb one. They used to play around the thing. Dentex, they would just swim around, amberjacks as well. I don't know how to explain it, you know. I'm telling you now, you're probably thinking he's exaggerating. But trust me, it's a shame. It's a shame. And I tell you what, it's us, the spear fishermen, that were in that place, not the fishermen.
As the time went by, I became a better Spiro. I improved, and I knew that it was time to take the next step. I knew that I was ready to venture below those deep drops.
Stop.
Vallahi bak, bir 10 sene evvel antene mineri geldi. Çok menülla vardı o zaman. Izmarit bittikten sonra menülla bastı. Sürüydü böyle menüllalar dökülür dağların üstünden. Çok acayip menülla vardı, tamam mı? O zaman bir mineri düştü onun içine, böyle kat kat binlerle. Yoktu bizde. Binlerle ama. Ya anlatamam, sana bir arkadaşı götürdük. O da bilmezdi. Atladı denize, tüfeği yaramazdı. Atar vurur mineriyi, mineri bir sirkelerini çıkar üstüne olta. Delmezdi geçsin kendini, tamam. Hiç uğramadı. Ha, ben yol verdim böyle tekneyle, yavaş yavaş giderdim tekneyle. Teknenin arkasından böyle menüllere avucuna lengerinden dökerdim arkasına. Düştü mineriler peşime. Bir tane 200'lük misina vardı. Hiç unutmam, böyle 5-10 kulaç. Taktım üstüne oltayı, taktım üstüne bir balık, bir kaptı. Attım öyle insan dalı için. Koca mineri. O kadar bir mineri var. Ama öyle mineri olmadı artık.
Amberjacks. The stories about amberjacks always gave me butterflies in my stomach. It's a fierce predator. They travel hundreds of kilometers to visit us. Stories about Ormande amberjacks. They always occupied a special niche inside my soul. Given the right conditions, sometimes amberjacks would reach the top of Ormande. If they were not gonna come to me, very often I went on my pursuit into the abyss to find them. Sometimes the abyss showed me something new about myself. And if not amberjacks, it would always give me something to lure me back in the next time. As I was going deeper and deeper, Ormande showed its new sides to me. It never failed to surprise. But something started to change. Ormanda started changing. And the change was obvious. I would find myself deep down there, surrounded by nothingness. There was no little fish, no sardines, no groupers. Questions started popping in my mind. Is it just the change of the season? Is it the change of the current? Does it have to do something with the water temperature? Is it just a bad day? What could it be that pushes all the fish away from this heavenly place?
Fishing, no, nothing to talk about. It's the fishing, nothing to do about pollution, because we compare places which are not polluted and which are polluted, it's the same. So it's not related with pollution. Very, very basic elementary school knowledge, right? So it's definitely about fishing, overfishing.
Commercial fishing leaves a lot of scars behind itself, nets and lines. But spearos, we come and go. In the end of the day, there is less fish, but you can't track it. Unfortunately, the empty spaces that stayed behind, all of us, any fishermen, were quickly occupied by a new inhabitant.
When is the first record? Is in 1991. But after like 20 years, nobody saw lionfish again. In 2012, I think, or 2011, Michel Barish saw one in Lebanon. And then since 2011 and 12, it increased its numbers very, very quickly. I think the first record in Turkey should be 2014. In Cyprus, I think it's 2016 or 15. But right now, the population is unbelievable. Wherever you go, if it's a rocky area, if it is a three-dimensional ins and outs, they're always there. We have seen that lionfish are competing for shelter as well. Normally, a grouper, a large grouper, would kick away a lionfish. If it's its shelter, it would kick it away. But for the medium-sized ones, which can compete with a lionfish, it's a problem because they get there inside the shelters or rocks, all those three-dimensional crevices. So they just occupy them. When they occupy them, then these middle-sized groupers and other fish cannot find shelter against the bigger predators. So that's a problem for them. Normally that rock could be a shelter for some fish so they could spread there, they could grow and later on reproduce there, but not anymore because all the shelters are taken. So that's one of the biggest problems about lionfish. Not only because it eats the small fish, yes, of course that's another problem, but we also have this face of the problem, like the habitat occupation for other fish. It's likely that they're going to disperse all Mediterranean, at least the south part of the Mediterranean, and data shows the same. So it's going towards west. To get Mediterranean rid of lionfish is impossible. It's done one way.
Maybe 5 years ago. Maybe even more. Yeah, no, about 5 years ago I went there, and it's sad. It's sad. It's very sad, really. It's like seeing a very old friend laying in bed, very ill, very sick, and you're not. You haven't got the way to help him. There's nothing you can do because it's dead. And you know you're one of those who contributed for that beautiful place to turn into a death zone. That's very sad about it.
And this was it. The dusky king of Ormande is still swimming somewhere there. I hope it lives a long life. It was so close, one shot away.
Oh, wait, so you didn't shoot it?
Nope.
But why?
Well, think of Ormande or any other seas. We keep taking, and doing so breaks the vulnerable system.
So no more spearfishing for you then?
Of course there is spearfishing for me. You see, spearfishing could be sustainable if done sustainably. It's not about just taking, it's also about giving. It's a cycle. The grouper, I hope it's gonna grow. I hope it's gonna make babies. I hope the babies grow, and I really hope that I'll be there in some time to see them grown up, and maybe I'll even be able to hunt them. You never know. I just really wish we thought about it much earlier.